I'll kill you.
Hey guys, so by myself today. So Jason, of course, has been on vacation last week, this week, and I believe next week, which was planned. He went down to visit family, and he'll actually be in my neck of the woods on Monday and Tuesday next week. So if all goes well, I'll get a chance to meet him face to face on Monday. And Danny is dealing with some stuff. I'm just going to leave it at that, and that he is dealing with uh, some major issues. So hopefully he's okay, but he, as you know, obviously he's not here at the moment. So if I hear from him, obviously we'll have him come on. And so that just leaves me, and I didn't want to not do a show, and we always do the show at this time on Wednesdays and Thursdays, so I figured here I am. So hopefully Danny will be back tomorrow. Don't know if he will be. And if not, hopefully he'll be back next week. I know that if all goes according to plan, Danny will be taking a break for a few weeks, but that's a whole other thing. But right now he's dealing with some short-term stuff that's just taking precedent over everything else, including YouTube. So, so honestly, we're just kind of going to be hanging out and talking today. And yes, Donnie mentions Tina Turner passed away today. The wife actually just told me about that, which is sad, but at the same time, Tina was very old and, did live a full life. So not exactly a tragedy. And Chrono says, play some super chats. Well, super chat me and I'll play something. How's that? See what I mean? And John Gill says, my playlist just went to the Commodore 64 version of the Zach McCracken theme. I turned down my playlist to listen to Michael. Well, I appreciate that, my friend. All right, so let me switch this over to share the screen. There we go. And so this, of course, is the new trailer for Strange New Worlds that came out today. If you haven't seen it, it's a heck of a trailer. It starts out with several members of the crew in a shuttlecraft. We see these cool, and we saw these in season 1 in one episode, the one with the Gorn, these away team uniforms. And I think they might have had them in the one where they went down to the planet where Una's from. And you can see, I just love the fact that even though their lives are in danger, she looks like she's just having the time of her life, trying to pilot the shuttle. So things aren't looking good. There's Mbanga, La'ana in the shuttle, spiraling in to their doom. And of course, to absolutely nobody's surprise, the shuttle comes in and then manages to survive. Because after all, they're not going to kill off all the characters. We get a shot of the Enterprise like flying around what looks like a fantasy land with castles and buildings and stuff. And no, Kronos, that is not the gal from The Expanse. Different actress. I can see why you might confuse her, but yeah, no. And John Gill says, okay, if you want Nerd Fight, drop the Streamlab link so I can talk to you about how, aside from Picard season 3, Strange New Worlds was probably the worst thing I've ever seen on television. Wow. Wow, those fighting words. I really enjoyed Strange New Worlds. So I'll drop the link in a few minutes. First, I want to talk about this trailer, and then I'll let people come on if people want to, and take me on about it. Um, so I'm guessing that this planet has something to do with the fairy tale land from season one. Um, and that's just my guess. Um, it's a cool shot, but don't know much about it. Then we see this what looks like contemporary Earth town square kind of thing. Um, and and it looks like if this is the same place, which it looks like it is, a big old Gorn ship coming in, and so that would not be a good thing if you have any idea what the Gorn like to do when they meet up with people. We got a shot of Una at the console. Of course, we already know she's going to be okay. Shot that we've already seen at Spock in the command chair. And then we interesting shot here, the Enterprise flying in between a couple of asteroids. And Chrono says, give us some good news. Hopefully you're having a good day. Some good news, huh? I didn't die today. How's that? Yeah. I didn't die. And again, at the controls, she just loves piloting in crazy situations. I do like her character, even though I can't remember her name now. For some reason, my mind is going blank. And geez, I've said it a million times, and now I'm forgetting. Got a shot of the Enterprise at warp. Shot of a big old explosion. Don't know what that is, but this would appear to be Kirk and Una. Yeah, and there's the opposite shot there of Kirk and Una. And I have to say, while this guy still doesn't, like when I see this guy, he doesn't look like James T. Kirk to me. But when in this shot here, when he's talking to her, he sounded more like Kirk. And so hopefully we get more of that. Then we got the crew finding these primitive people. So this could be them on a primitive planet. It could be some kind of time travel thing. Could be, a hologram or an illusion. Who knows? But some good old fashioned hand to hand action. I do like this shot here where someone fires a flintlock like gun at Pike and he just blocks it with a shield. Very nicely done. And then a couple of people jumping out an airlock together. I'm guessing that's Spock and Nurse Chapel. There are a couple shots of them close together. And it would make sense, like if the scene where she's kissing him is just before this, like she's doing this as a desperation thing because she thinks they're gonna die. That would kind of make sense to me. We get Pike and La'an on this planet, looking off in the distance. We have this wrecked starship here. Don't know if this is the Enterprise or another starship and what it was wrecked by. So that could be interesting. Corona says, shouldn't they be dead? Not necessarily. A human being, if you go by the actual science of it, a human being can survive for about 2 or 3 minutes in space before death. Did Bird of Prey crash another ship? That is a distinct possibility. That could be the USS Kuroga. And it looks like there's some kind of alien creature behind them, but it's like too quick and fuzzy to really make it out, except that It's really kind of hard to say what exactly that is. I mean, that could be a Gorn, but I'm not sure. Big ball of energy thing. Uh, and then we have the infamous Spock and the Klingons drinking blood wine. Infamous, I say, because some people, for some reason, think that the Klingons look absolutely horrible. I don't think they look absolutely horrible. I think they just look like Klingons. But whatever. And some people don't like the fact that Spock is like yelling with them and stuff, but Spock could just be trying to uh, culturally fit in with them. Don't know. We'll see the context of the episode. Some other ship. We actually get to see, Carol Kane's character talk for a moment, where Uhura says that's like a crazy idea, and Carol Kane says something to the effect of that she really likes crazy ideas. We go back and actually just turn on the closed captions. Say, yeah, this is the most crazy theory. And then she says, "I love a crazy theory." Yes, and then we have that's definitely a Vulcan, but I'm not sure that it's Spock. Uh, that could be Cybok, actually. So interesting because and because I'm guessing Cybok is going to be more prominent in this season, since we teased him at the end of last season. Of course, we get the release date June 15th, which is very, very close, just a couple of weeks. A couple of people walking around on the outside of that wrecked ship. Some more various shots. Pike and Una actually kissing, which is not something I would have expected to see. And there's Chapel beaming, Spock in a spacesuit, Kirk and Uhura having a chat and a drink. The Enterprise under attack by something. It looks like a Gorn ship, actually. If you look at it carefully, it looks like it's a Gorn ship. And there we go. Mariner and Boimler in their lower decks accurate uniforms, which I got to give them credit. The uniforms look right. Mariner's sleeves are rolled up. Boimler's are not. We don't get a lot from them in this trailer. But we do get a great moment for Boimler at the end, which we'll get to in just a moment. And she says surprise, and I'm not sure why. So obviously they're not supposed to be there. Lots of quick shots of various things going on. Too fast to really get a good idea because there's no context. It's just like, oh, cool thing, cool thing, cool thing. There's the title card, Strange New Worlds, which I'm wondering if Andrew Kramer did these title cards, because these look very Andrew Kramer. Just saying, a lot of you probably don't know who Andrew Kramer is, but he has a website for people that use After Effects called videocopilot.net. I have several of his products that I purchased way back in like 2012, 2013, that I just reinstalled on the computer, and I forgot how good they are. And some of them include 3D text that does exactly what you see here. And so here is the big moment. We got the picture of this not long ago. And so if you read the subtitles, because I'm not putting the audio up because I don't want to get Paramount too angry at me, but I do love this. So we have Spock doing the salute, and of course, live long and prosper. And it says Mr. Wonderland, but of course he says Mr. Boimler. And Ensign Boimler responds, It's I thought you could also live at something. You know, he just could not like get the words out. He tried. Um, and so I thought it was a good trailer. I thought that the overall, I think the trailer shows a show that is again trying to be more like classic Trek, which is why I'm so excited about it. Um, why I think that it's hopefully going to be a good show. And Chrono says, "Please, no spoilers. No spoilers for what? That was a trailer. Hasn't come out yet." So there is the StreamYard link for any of you that want to join. Kronos wants to know, what did I think of Quantum Mania? I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was like the greatest Marvel movie, but I didn't think it was horrible either. I thought it was just kind of there. It was a middle of the road Marvel movie, put it that way. It was not a particularly memorable Marvel movie, but it was not a bad Marvel movie. Like, it wasn't the Eternals. It wasn't Captain Marvel. It wasn't, even like at the level of the Incredible Hulk. I think it was better than those movies. But it certainly wasn't an Iron Man or a Civil War or, Infinity War, so. And Slurry Volcano, thank you so much. Tip $3.33, says, I missed Sunday 3 New to Guardians 3, but I did my penance and watched Fast and Furious 9. Well, no, my friend. Your penance is to go watch Fast and Furious 10. And by the way, so Slurry Volcano, why don't you come join me? I haven't talked to you in forever, so come on up before you lose your ability to sleep at all, which is coming, my friend, very, very soon. Just a few months. Like 3 months now? 3 months left to live. But thank you, Joseph. It's always good to see you, and I always appreciate the support. Ariel says, and by the way, anybody going to join me? Ariel says, that's a lie, Salty. Why did you lie to us? We all know you never run out of nerds to fight. Well, not necessarily. Nobody's come up here to fight me yet. And is this a gerbil? No, this is a land bat. And that's the best I can think of. This is I think she's a land bat. And saying nerds. And John Gill found his headphones so you can come up and yell at me because I had the nerve to actually enjoy Strange New Worlds. Can't wait for this one. I don't think that is number one. You think it's, was it? Okay, maybe it was. If so, then obviously they made up after the court martial. Let's see, it's past midnight. I really need my sleep. First conference call in 8 hours. All right, Joseph, I'll forgive you this one time, but you're a jerk. John Gill says, yes, the nerve. Danny says, I'll try to join in a bit, but still dealing with some stuff. I'm listening on the phone with my earbuds. Don't worry about it, Danny. You know what? Life is, you got stuff to deal with. So if you can't make it, you can't make it. I'd rather you made it tomorrow than tonight because, usually you have a bigger audience on Thursday. And, and then so tomorrow, let me know if you're going to make it, and I'll try to get a water video out so we can talk about it. Unless this is a Highlander universe and there can be only one. Yes, well, that is true. Thomas says, speaking of number one, wasn't she arrested? Yes, she was arrested in the final moments of the final episode of last season. So I'm sure they'll be taking care of her trial and all that. in the first couple of episodes of season 2. And Danny says, "Will do. I assume you mean by you'll let me know if you're going to make it tomorrow." Salty Drecker said today I said, "What the frack? Good for you. We need to get frack trending again." Are they earbuds or SETI Alpha 5 slugs? Yeah. That's somebody should make is like little Bluetooth earbuds that look like the SETI eels. That would be hilarious. And Aaron says, "Oh, you said it without even thinking about it." Well, good. Frack is a good word. John Gill says, "Okay, unlike the last time I was on one of your live streams, I'll put pants on first." So you don't have to, as long as you don't stand up. I'm not wearing pants. You don't know that. No, well, I'm wearing shorts, but And yes, Kronos, they are actually the name of that creature is the SETI eel. That's what they're called. Ariel says, "Oh, Danny, just showing salty stream. LOL. Hope you feel better and take care of yourself, Danny. Huggles." As they leave a slime trail, they do leave a slime trail, but they refer to them as the SETI eels. And Dork Knight says, "This is SETI Alpha 5. Yes. Stan Lee missed the notice. No worries. I've only been going for about 25 minutes. And, depending on how it goes, we'll go until, people, either get bored or I run out of steam, whichever comes first." Ariel says, "Drive safe, Madam President Penny." I think Madam President Penny left a little while ago because she's on her way to church. Cronin says, "Don't yell. I have sensitive ears. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to hurt your ears." What? Yes, that's my face. Yes, that's my face. Chrono says, "Hey, Stan, I'm a people." Are we discussing water? Not today because Danny is not here. So hopefully we'll be able to discuss water tomorrow. But what happened to SETI Alpha 6 and 4 and the other planets? Well, as far as we know, SETI Alpha 4, 3, 2, and 1 were not Class M, nor was SETI Alpha 6. Well, SETI Alpha 6 apparently was Class M, but just barely, because they thought that SETI Alpha 5 was SETI Alpha 6. Has the word been given? Yes, it has. And yet nobody has followed the order. Go figure. Was it Boomer or the civilian Cylon who sabotaged? It was Boomer. Jonas says it wasn't you, it was Dork. I'm not sure what you mean there. Thomas says water. Yeah, the second episode of Battlestar Galactica. Me and Danny were supposed to talk about that today, but he got otherwise detained. He was shouting with letters and words. Even I do that sometimes. Or the one from the munitions depot. No, the person who did the sabotage. Watch the first 2 minutes of the episode. The first thing you see is Boomer soaking wet after she just got out of the water tanks with the bag of explosives. And Crown's saying hi to Yosef, calling him Time Dude. And Cronos, you're telling me, Dork was shouting loudly in the chat. Gotcha. Now I understand. Oh boy, I can just and there's John Gill. Says, "Oh boy, I can just water right now." The Caracorn is being flooded. I think. Man, what is with your names? Lori Lake is still getting larger and well, it's hot as hell in all the other areas. I thought this lake was something. And Corona says, bring back the super chat list. You would rake in the cash. Maybe I will do that once I get things organized on there. All right. So, and Thomas says, have you watched Shazam 2 yet? It's on Max. No, I didn't know it was on Max. I just set up my password on Max today. So I will try to do that maybe after the show. So, John.
Yeah, I haven't watched Shazam 2 either yet.
Well, I'm sure you would think it's better than Strange New Worlds.
I don't know, really. I wasn't a big fan of the first Shazam, even though it was fine. It was just basically just fine. It wasn't much of a movie.
I enjoyed it. My only major problem with it is it doesn't fit in with the rest of the DC movies.
Yeah, and it kind of went in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. Like I couldn't imagine that Shazam meeting up with Ben Affleck's Batman, and going on a mission together.
In general, I don't think that really had much of a potential to be a franchise. Like as a single movie, that's like, yeah, that's kind of like the same way I felt about Star Trek 2009. I liked it as a single movie. As soon as they did sequels, and turned it into a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I liked Star Trek 2009 as a one-off experiment, like Star Trek in a different way.
Yeah. And Arabic wants to know, should you watch Black Adam before Shazam 2? I don't think they have anything to do with each other, as far as I know. Since Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson wanted Black Adam to fight Superman and not Shazam, despite the fact that Black Adam and Shazam are arch enemies, they'll probably they would never fight, and it doesn't really matter because the DC universe is pretty much getting canceled anyway. So, and being replaced by the Gunn version.
I am going to need some feedback on how well I am being heard because I have no way of telling.
You sound fine to me.
All right. I know I have a German accent.
Oh, terrible of you. You're not allowed to have a German accent.
Damn. That's against the rules. Damn.
Well, you're the one that pointed it out. No, you sound fine.
All right. I never know about my volume levels when I don't actually.
Yeah. And if I can't understand you because you say something with your accent, I will just say, I didn't understand you.
All right.
Yeah. So don't worry about your accent.
Good. I was just worried about my hearing.
Yeah. So is that why you call yourself John Gill because you're German?
That was actually, I took the name because that was the first Star Trek episode I watched that was not dubbed in German because it was banned in Germany. So I had to pirate it. It was actually banned until 2004, like 8 years after Voyager the Killing Game aired. It was still banned after
that. Because it had actual Nazis in it and everything.
A swastika, yeah.
Yeah.
You can only show a swastika in Germany if it's educational. And at one point they decided, yes, Star Trek, that's good enough.
Well, I would say that you could qualify that episode as educational because it's a warning against the evils of what happened under the Nazi regime.
Yeah, definitely.
And they also, one thing I kind of liked about that episode is they humanized the German people by showing that, it's not that the people were evil, they were kind of misled.
Yeah, it's like if you check the voting on the Nazi party in Germany, it was like a quarter of the population that voted for them, and then they got in some like weird coalition government, and most people didn't approve of them.
Poland.
Who's giving me a piece of Poland?
Ariel Ballet. He says throws a piece of Poland at John.
I only want the female part.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's the female part of Poland that you threw. So Strange New Worlds. You want to pick a fight at me about Strange New Worlds?
Yeah, that's one of those things. I mean, it's nowhere near Picard season 3, which was like extreme in that the stuff that claims to be made for fans, but it's really just made for people who haven't watched any Star Trek in 30 years and need to be reminded with all these constant fucking references that
Right. Well, there's references, which I don't mind, and then there's member berries, which I do mind, because like references, and I know it's a, you might think it's a difference with a distinction without a difference, but
no, I don't.
It's, a reference. Like I think of like Lower Decks. Lower Decks does references all the time, but I don't mind because it's part of the flow of the show that they're usually making a joke about it, or it might be some deep cut thing that most people don't even remember. Like when you see, like, I remember it was like the first or second episode, you see a Vendorian, and the Vendorians only appeared in one episode of the animated series. And so most people don't even know what a Vendorian is,
Yeah.
However, the member berries is like where they just shove it in your face and over and over and over. And I've actually been arguing with this one guy because he keeps trying to tell me how great Picard season 3 is. And I was like, you know what? Picard season 3 is like this rehash story that's just borrowed from a half a dozen other storylines. But then they say, but look, there's the Enterprise D. Isn't that pretty?
There's a video I did, which nobody saw because nobody cares about my channel, which is fine. Which I call.
So everybody should be going to John Gill's channel and subscribe, so he doesn't feel bad.
Where I called episode 6 of season 3 of Star Trek Picard a rapid fire member berry Gatling gun, because it just throws it. Like Data has this station where he throws TNG references at you, and then Geordie LaForge also has a space station where he throws TNG references at you. It's a Gatling gun. It's like they just shoot one after another, endless. It's extreme.
Yeah, that episode, they did take it to the nth degree.
It's so extreme. It's so extreme. Yeah. Man.
And there's Danny getting mad. He because Danny loves Picard season 3.
Why?
Because he likes member berries, I guess.
Yeah, but the story. First of all, you had the first 5 episodes that were every episode was Vedic threatens the crew to hand out Jack Crusher. 5 episodes long. You wait 5 hours. Yeah, Vedic threatens the crew to hand out Jack Crusher, and you're like, okay, another week of this. And then they just throw member berries at you. And when you think you finally figure it out, then because it's Star Trek Picard, they got a shoehorn in the Borg again. Yeah, right. Of course.
Yeah, we're 3 for 3. Okay. Yeah, we're 3 for 3 with bringing the Borg in, and the thing that made me mad about Vedic is that we spend an Ariel Ballet with a $6.90 super tip says uses PayPal and attempts to send John a lovely piece of the female Poland. She's part of the Commonwealth and part Lithuanian and loves Germans. So there you go. So you're getting a female from Poland through PayPal. How that works, I have no idea.
At least a piece of it, maybe like a toe, like in Big Lebowski.
Yeah, it's just the toe. Yeah, for $6.90, I think you'll be lucky to get a toe. You might get a toenail.
A toenail, yeah.
But yeah, so the problem. So we spend 8 episodes with Vedic as the main bad guy. And then we find out, oh, by the way, she's not the bad guy.
Yeah.
We're just going to literally throw her out the airlock because she's not important. It's really about the Borg. And so we
Star Trek Picard.
Yeah. And it's like, wait a minute, this is as bad as Book of Boba Fett, where Cad Bane was the main bad guy, and we find out about Cad Bane right at the end of the series. It's like, why weren't we introduced to Cad Bane in episode 1? So that we could like build up this whole confrontation between Cad Bane and Boba Fett. That could have been cool. If we were going to have the Borg Queen, this mutated version of the Borg Queen that's trying to do something involving Jack Crusher, fine, even though that's a lame story. If that's where you want to go, fine. But introduce the Borg Queen in the first or second episode and build up that confrontation. Star Trek doesn't need to be a mystery box after mystery box after mystery box.
Yeah,
because it ends up just being lame by the end.
Yeah,
so Ariel wants to know where your channel is.
You kind of enter my name somewhere.
Just type his name in on YouTube.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta admit something. I also have a video in which I was trying to do a live reaction to the final episode of Picard season 3. Mm-hmm. And I actually put that online, even though I fell asleep halfway through the episode. And the second half is just me sitting in front of the screen like this. I never actually finished it because the last episode was just so boring. I was like, oh yes.
Wow, that's it, John. There's about 8 million John Guild channels. So I was trying to look up your channel, and there's like, one of them is a bull humping a horse.
Could be me.
Okay, and then there's some guy with a hat. And,
sounds like me too.
Yeah, some kid on the beach, a black girl.
I was on the beach as a kid. Maybe not.
There's a couple of them that are girls, apparently.
Yeah, I was never a girl.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I would have remembered that, I think.
Here, put it in the private chat, and I'll make sure that I'll copy it to the main chat so everybody can.
Yeah. I just gotta. Where's the YouTube thingy? Right click here, copy there, and there. That's the one.
Yeah, I see it there.
Anyway, yeah, I never finished the last episode of Picard because I fell asleep because there were space battles like in every final episode of modern Star Trek.
And honestly, I mean, the space battle was all right, but it wasn't all that exciting. I mean, it was, and when they did the Enterprise D doing the Millennium Falcon, that was out at that point, and that was just done.
That episode didn't excite me at all. First, the space battles, which I've seen on Star Trek Discovery Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4 of Star Trek Picard Season 1, Season 2. I was like, no, please, don't do that.
But we have not gotten a space battle like that on Strange New Worlds.
Which I also have not finished. I have seen the first 7 episodes, and then...
we do get a space battle. We do get a major space battle in the season finale, but it's not like that. So I'd be curious to see what you think.
Probably because it's episodic, and unlike Discovery and Picard, we didn't know from the first episode on what the season finale would be. But that's a big problem of Discovery and Picard, that they tell us in the first episode what the finale will be and how they will get there. Like that. Discovery season 1 didn't have it that bad, but ever since season 2, they were like, in the first episode, they are going to tell you, this is going to be our finale, and this is how we're going to get there. Season 3 got really bad, where they told you, like, first we have to visit these and these and these and these planets, and then they do that in the following episodes, just following what they already told us, and we just have to wait for them to get to it.
So, Danny says the Enterprise D whipping around inside that Borg cube with data piloting was gold, you fools. It was a golden turd. That's what it was. It was absolute crap. The Enterprise, if the Enterprise D was that maneuverable with Data piloting it, Data should have been piloting it in every episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. But he wasn't, was he?
Danny, I also have a video of a live reaction of me seeing the Enterprise D for the first time, and I was just laughing and screaming of all the member berries in New Trek. That was the most extreme. I was like, when Geordi said, "Oh, we need something more analog," I was like, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. And then they showed the Enterprise.
Well, the funny thing is, they say they need something more analog. Meanwhile, the Titan is a 23rd century ship. I mean, I'm sorry. I know. Oh, it's a new ship. No, it's not. It's a ship. And in fact, I was talking to Captain Foley about it earlier today. That ship was designed to be in the Star Trek: The Motion Picture era, but then they repurposed it for this show.
Shit.
That is a 23rd century design. Anyway, and Danny says, why are you even watching Discovery? Why? Because it's Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know, and look, I will watch I am a true Star Trek fan, which means I will watch everything that comes out that is Star Trek, good and bad.
Exactly.
Right? And because Star Trek is family to me. And you don't disregard family just because you don't like them all the time. You just say, okay, that's the weird uncle that sits in the corner. That's Discovery. Right? So weird uncle is over there. You know, unfortunately, not every Trek is the original series or TNG or Deep Space Nine, but you know, that's you know, that's just what we got to deal with. Discovery is what it is. Is it a great show? Absolutely not. But at least it's, you know, but it's in the Star Trek universe, and I want to know everything that's going on in the Star Trek universe. And so, and like I said, I'm a real fan, so I'm going to watch it all.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like Star Trek Prodigy, and I argue with Captain Foley about that. I really don't like the fact that Star Trek Prodigy is considered canon, because that means that in the late 24th century, they made you know, Starfleet made the most advanced ship they'd ever built, and then lost it. And by the way, we don't have a single protocol to prevent anyone from taking it. No captains, you know, lockout codes, no access codes to activate the weapon systems on the ship. No, nothing. No, anybody can just walk in and claim to be the captain, and the hologram version of Janeway will be like, okay, I guess you're the captain then.
Well, I admire the fact that after years of Secret Hideout, Star Trek is still able to think about it like that. I just watched the show and it just went into my eyes and ears and just kind of happened.
And of course, Joseph loves Star Trek Prodigy. Well, fine, if you love it, that's fine. If you, it's Star Trek Clone Wars. That's all it is. I mean, you got some kids. I mean, actually, it's more like Rebels, I think, than Clone Wars. But I mean, it's okay. I will say this: I liked Prodigy when we were focused in on Janeway. I thought it was actually all right. But every time we were focused on the kids, I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. You don't need Star Trek that's a bunch of kids running around with a starship.
Well, what I liked was like the 2 or 3 times they tried like a science fiction story, like that Time Amok story where they were like all trapped at different speeds of time.
That was actually kind of interesting. But they shouldn't have been little kids. You know, they need to. that's the problem, I think, with this show is that, and this like, writers are stupid, because writers think that and like Kronos says kids are dumb. No, they're not. That's the problem, is that writers are dumb. Writers think that kids are dumb and that kids need to look at other kids in order to be entertained. That's total crap. Kids don't want to watch other kids. Kids want to watch adults, because they want to watch their heroes. I didn't want to watch Captain Kirk as a 12-year-old. I wanted to watch Captain Kirk as a 30-year-old when I was 12, so I could grow up to be Captain Kirk.
Actually, the turtles were teenagers.
Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, they're even teenagers.
And Huey, Louie, and Dewey were kids.
And Danny says, "I'm the captain now." Well, great. You know what? If you were on the whatever star, the protostar, then you'd be the captain. But you're not on the protostar, so you're not. And Jim's Landscape LLC #1 Commodore Productions is in the house. How you doing, Jim's Landscape LLC #1 Commodore Productions? A name that just rolls off the tongue. And remember, if you need landscaping done, contact Jim's Landscape LLC #1 Commodore Productions, and he will come and landscape your land. No matter where you are on planet Earth, Jim will come out, and his prices can't be beaten.
Rascals was a fine episode.
Which one? Oh, Rascals?
Rascal. Yeah, it was in the chat.
Oh, yeah. We see, but that's the thing, Joseph. It's not that you can't have kids in Star Trek. It's that you shouldn't make Star Trek about kids. There's a difference. Rascals didn't make it so that the rest of TNG was about baby Picard and friends. It was just a fun episode where they de-aged them. Right?
Yeah, don't say that out loud so Alex Kurtzman doesn't hear it.
So they do baby Picard. Yeah, we'll find out that knowing the way they do it on these newer shows, they'll make Picard that he was bald when he was like 8 years old.
Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas, Star Trek babies, where wishes will come true. Yeah, they'll have infant Riker with a beard.
Yeah, and always putting his leg on chairs.
Yes.
And baby Wolf always being angry.
Yeah, and so Ariel's saying, "I'm seeing TNG babies to the theme of Muppet Babies." Absolutely, I am too. I'm like that. That's what we got. We got to have Star Trek babies. Oh man, that we need that so bad. So yeah. Make it so. Yeah.
I watched a lot of Muppet Babies as a tiny kid. I still remember that. I'm actually glad about that, because like my younger generation, my nephew, he watched Teletubbies, which is the dumbest thing I've still seen to this day. And he has a kid of his own by now. I wonder what that kid is being forced to watch. I think it can only get worse than Teletubbies.
Well, Teletubbies are,
Yeah. Anyway, we got to that subject because of Star Trek Prodigy, which I would not defend as anything good, just not something I would be offended by. It just, I consider it watchable. Like, that's the word I would use for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, but you were acting like it was the worst thing ever a minute ago.
No, I would say that about every other show, but Star Trek Prodigy was watchable, and even though it had lots of elements that sucked,
So picture that's like a little baby Picard.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Ironically, I still have the audio plays on cassette tape of that, and also the audio plays of the first TNG episodes, which are like in the same box. So they do kind of belong together because they're in the same box for me.
I just love to make it so. I like to take my ship on out.
I also have Elf in that box as audio plays.
Oh man. And Yo says Prodigy is not meant for 40-year-old white men. It's not meant for anybody.
I'm not white, I'm German.
And I'm Celtic. But
you correctly guessed that I'm exactly 40 years old.
well, there you go.
Huh.
So he is 40 years old. But but that's the thing. Who's the audience for it? Little kids aren't going to care, because it's no. I just don't know.
The thing I wondered the most, completely different subject, was like the Spaceballs animated series, which was like complete childish toilet humor, but for adults. And I was just wondering, is this made for adults or little children? Because they swear and have like adult jokes, and it's complete toilet humor for 6-year-olds the whole way through. I didn't get that show at all. I don't know if you watched it. I
didn't care for the Spaceballs movie, which really? I know a lot of people I know find that shocking. But yes, I think Galaxy Quest is one of the best parodies ever made. I think Spaceballs is one of the worst.
Really?
And, yes, because Spaceballs, and by the way, Mel Brooks has even said this. Spaceballs is just Mel Brooks showing him how stupid he thinks Star Wars is. Whereas Galaxy Quest is like a love letter to the fans of Star Trek. All the stuff they make fun of in Star Trek, we all know is true. We all know that we wanted to be that fanboy that gets the communicator and finds out it's all real. We secretly all wanted to be him.
Did you know the story? Did you know the story about the Deep Space Nine episode Trials and Tribulations? That originally it was planned pretty much like Galaxy Quest, that they go onto the.
Yeah, they were going to go to what was it? IOSA.
Piece of action planet.
IOSA or whatever it is, where the people imitate everything.
Yeah, the piece of the action planet.
Yeah. And Kronos, it's not that Mel Brooks doesn't make fun of things, but and this is why Mel Brooks didn't want to make Spaceballs, by the way. If you look at most of Mel Brooks's films, like High Anxiety, he loves Alfred Hitchcock films. And so when you look at High Anxiety and the way that he does that, compare the type of humor he does to the type of humor he does in Spaceballs. In High Anxiety, he creates silly characters and puts them in a Hitchcock-like movie, which is also what they do, by the way, in Galaxy Quest. In Spaceballs, he just says, oh, this is just stupid. So I'm going to sort of just show you how stupid it is.
I'm personally fine with that. I don't... I mean,
and it's okay if you don't get me wrong. If you like it, that's fine. I'm not saying you can't like it.
Yeah, it doesn't damage my appreciation for Star Wars or anything.
Right, and so that's that. Yeah, if you enjoy the movie, great, knock yourself out. But for me personally, it just doesn't feel like this is. Like, for example, I'll tell you a movie, or actually it's a set of movies that I do think loves Star Wars and makes fun of Star Wars at the same time, and that's the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah,
I don't like the Family Guy show, But I actually
Neither.
have the Blu-ray of the Family Guy Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, me too. Exactly the same thing. I don't like Family Guy, but they did really well on that.
Yeah. And also Robot Chicken. I wish that there was a Blu-ray of just all their Star Wars references, because every time Robot Chicken did Star Wars, it was awesome. And Bondage Brittany says, we're wasting our time worrying about Trek and timelines. It's going to end up when Peanut Hamper creates self-replicating exocomps that consume all matter in the galaxy. You know, I would not be surprised if Peanut Hamper ends up becoming a major threat at some point. Yeah. Do you know who Peanut Hamper is? Do you remember?
Wow.
From Lower Decks?
About things being stupid and
Huh?
we're talking about things being stupid or being considered stupid. I hate that shit so much.
You hate Lower Decks?
Every minute of it, every second of it.
I enjoy Lower Decks. Because, see, Lower Decks is another one where I get Mike McMahon, the guy that is the showrunner of Lower Decks. He's one of us. He loves Trek. And I think it shows, because his deep cuts are real deep cuts. They're not just member berries shoved in your face.
You know what the problem with that for me is that, oh yeah, he's a Star Trek fan, and he does these deep cuts that we all recognize because all of us Star Trek fans watch Star Trek just as much as him, which makes him not special because every Star Trek fan knows all this stuff.
Well, what's special is he gets to make a show about it.
Yeah, a very annoying show where every character just screams all the time and everything is annoying. I don't.
Well, you know, he was on Rick and Morty before that, so I mean, that's kind of his thing.
Rick and Morty actually had interesting stories in the earlier seasons. It just kind of went nosediving lately, but
I could never get into Rick and Morty. I don't like the concept. So I kind of gave up on it almost immediately.
It's just something that you either watch or you don't. It's just one of those shows like I don't know a comparison, but it's like why do I start with I don't know a comparison and then say it's not like I'm going to finish that sentence. Yes. That's not the way to talk.
Chronos says we need a member berry counter. So here you go, Chronos.
What the f***'s going on with these member berries?
There you go.
I also stopped watching South Park after season 10 because it just got so
I don't remember
annoying.
what season I stopped watching South Park on. They started getting a little... I think it was during their pandemic special when they just started focusing on the whole weed thing. I just kind of lost interest in it.
For me, it was like season 10 or so, same time as Simpsons and Family Guy when they were just becoming current event show, talking about what's going on right now and not having stories of their own. It's just, oh, this is in the news this week. Let's talk about this.
Right.
And that was just getting annoying.
Do I remember stopping watching The Simpsons? No, you know, it was so long ago. No, I don't. It was a long time ago that I stopped watching The Simpsons. I mean, at least 15 years ago.
Yeah, and they were probably in like season 15 or 18 or 20 or so back then. I have no idea. That show just goes on so long and nobody cares.
Yeah, how long was it?
Simpsons,
34 seasons.
Man.
34.
Normally you'd ask, how do they get so many ideas? But you know, they don't.
Well, they don't. That's the thing. I mean, that's I think what really got us is because the one thing we really looked forward to every year was the Halloween special. And, you know, then now the Halloween special is just like really badly done parodies of random movies. That's all it is. They're not trying to tell any kind of original stories. They're not trying to, actually do anything Halloween related. They just like, this time we'll do Inception and the Muppet Movie and Blade Runner. They just pick movies and imitate them with Simpsons characters.
I have no way of knowing.
Yeah, we watched. This was several years ago. We tried watching it again, and it was like, yeah, this sucks. Treehouse of Horror. But yeah, it was just horrible.
Oh,
but
Stan Lee has something against Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I mean, I like the character. The show did get boring when he showed up. Yes, I agree. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan was perfectly fine.
But you know what's not boring?
When you roll, what's kind of weird.
There you go. Can't get enough Muppet Babies.
Yeah, next thing should be Filmation Ghostbusters. Who has watched that in the last 40 years?
What's that?
Filmation
Muppet?
Ghostbusters? The other Ghostbusters?
Oh, the real
It's the
Ghostbusters?
No, the other Ghostbusters with the
Oh, I
gorilla
don't know.
and Prime Evil.
I no idea.
You don't know that they were in the 80s? There were two Ghostbusters.
Right, I remember there were two Ghostbusters shows. I don't even remember. I don't even remember what the other one was like, because I remember the real Ghostbusters, but I can't remember the other show at all.
I watched that as a kid. It was just like completely stupid, and it was like the same kind of stuff as like Brave Star and Saber Rider, that typical Saturday morning cartoon stuff. There was like ridiculous villains and ridiculous heroes and ridiculous visuals.
Filmation's Ghostbusters cannot be revived. It stars a gorilla.
Yeah, that's where the joke came from with Ghostbusters 2016, that some assholes turned into a racist joke. Like when Ghostbusters 2016 came out, some nerds were saying, this is like the other Ghostbusters with the gorilla, and then some assholes were connecting that.
Oh, because Leslie was such a big lady.
Yeah, and there's some assholes that did turn that into.
Well, they made a racist joke, and that they tried to retroactively say that makes that show racist.
No, it just made the people who were making that comparison look racist.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to compare Leslie to a gorilla, I would say
that's very racist.
You're definitely pushing the boundaries of racism there.
But if you want to, but if you want to say 2016 Ghostbusters is not the real Ghostbusters, but the other Ghostbusters,
right? If you're just saying the show sucks in the same way that show sucked in comparison to the real Ghostbusters, fine. And so Joseph thinks I should ask you about the German movie Traumschiff. Surprise, I think you'll watch that one. You should watch that one.
That was a German Star Trek and Star Wars parody, which is well made, but it would also not be well received by the current crowd because it has very stereotypical depictions of homosexuals who are going like, the whole movie. like basically the Star Trek, the Enterprise, the whole crew is gay and just wants to be in a dance contest, but they're being kept from it from a guy who looks like Darth Vader.
Are you serious?
Yes, that is a movie and one of the highest grossing German movies ever, actually. And they have to try time travel into the Wild West, and there's a gay Indian who helps them.
Okay, I must be mistyping it because when I just typed in Traumschiff, it says that's a TV show from 1981.
Yes, the name is borrowed from a German what's the word, soap opera on board a cruise ship. I think there's a
Right, that's what's coming up. So let me see.
I think there's an American equivalent where Jefferson from Married with
There we
Children
go.
was
Okay,
on.
I think I found it from 2004.
Yeah, Love Boat. Yes, thank you, Thomas R. Hart. Love Boat. That was the
Yes,
original.
I get it. Traumschiff.
Traumschiff.
All right, so where can you watch it? That's the question.
I don't think there's a dubbed version of it. I wouldn't know if there was.
Oh, there's got to at least be a subtitled version.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if it's that bad, I was thinking it might be a fun one to watch with Jason while Danny's away.
It's very bad, but I don't know which streaming service it would be on. I tried to type what the fuck is going on. There.
Well, I don't think that's the name of it.
Traum stream. Translation. There. Now, how do I fix my screen again? Doesn't matter.
How do you fix it? There's a button down at the bottom to share. Yeah,
Standard view.
Looking on Amazon and I don't even see it. German is a weird language. That's true. Germans are weird people, but that's okay.
Thomas Hart, I am from northern Germany. I would never voluntarily go to Munich. They don't even speak German there. It's just some weird dialect that nobody understands. So I've been there once. They have pretty sights, but
oh, so it's called Traumschiff Surprise, right?
Yes.
Traumschiff Surprise. People also search for Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. That's what Google recommends when you search for Traumschiff Surprise. That is hilarious.
It's based on like a Saturday Night Live kind of sketch show where
let's see. There's the. It does look very gay.
Yes, it is. Very stereotypically gay.
Yes.
Computerlogbuch Nummer 1 von unserem Traumschiff Surprise, Captain Kirk. Es ist etwas Unglaubliches passiert. Man hat uns ein Fax geschickt. Der Befehl lautet, rettet die Erde. Haben wir überhaupt Zeit für sowas?
Ja! Hier spricht die Pulle, was gibt's?
Hier holt auf.
Die Zukunft unserer Welt liegt allein in Ihren Händen.
Mopsgeschwindigkeit.
Captain Mobs Geschwindigkeit ist mit Verlaub gerade bis halb.
Hug velocity.
Wir haben einen Marderschaden.
Sie kämpfen gegen das unfassbar Böse.
Ich freue mich, Sie zu sehen, Lord Maul.
Schleimer.
Fertig machen zum Beamen.
Das Beamen geht mir doch immer so auf den Sack.
Das größte Abenteuer der Menschheit beginnt.
Habt ihr ein Taxi bestellt?
Ich hab's bestellt. Es war ganz allein meine Idee.
So this is what Germans think of Star Trek fans, huh? I see how it goes.
Ja, ich habe die Jalousien.
Festhalten, es geht los.
Oh, und einer von euch ein Tintenkiller.
It looks like a combination of like a very insensitive version of the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, Ariel says seems legit. Yeah, wow, that is horrible.
Yeah, it's like a airplane with a brain tumor.
That is crazy. Trying to see if it's for sale even anywhere. I can't find it. Oh, actually, it looks like you can maybe buy it on Prime Video. Let me see. More info. No. Wish list trailer. Video is not available to watch in your location. So I probably have to be in Germany to watch it.
Yes, you have to come to Germany to watch it with English subtitles.
See, that's it. So I wonder, can you watch it?
I don't know. I don't watch things the traditional way. I prefer
You do the high seas kind of thing.
Yeah, the eye patch and peg leg kind of way.
Terrible of you.
And so I wouldn't know where it could be watched, except on TV here with German TV commercials, which are worse than the movie.
Man, that just now I really want to see that movie now. It just looks so bad.
It is so bad.
That could be possibly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
That's actually me doing the eye patch and peg leg thing. There's very little stuff I delete. I actually deleted that because it's just so goddamn awful.
You actually deleted it.
Yeah. And I have an 8 terabyte hard drive.
Terrible of you. Well, I have a I have a shared drive for people that are patrons of mine, but I only put on stuff that I do reviews of, like Battlestar Galactica up there. I have Kenobi up there. Once we get to it, I'll put other stuff up there. But Kenobi, I'm working on a re-edit of. Let me see if it's
Battlestar Galactica. I watched your things about it. We can't do a nerd fight about it because my opinions about it aren't strong. I don't like the show, but it's a purely subjective thing. I just didn't enjoy it. There's nothing bad about it. It didn't work for me.
Well, that's fine.
I watched the whole thing, and it's really well made, and all the actors are great, and all the special effects are great, and just leaves absolutely no impression on me.
You were just mad because they didn't use the space Nazis from the original series.
I actually only watched the first half of the original series because it's so cheesy. It's kind of difficult to watch.
Oh, really? That's so funny because in the second half of the original series, there are space Nazis.
Huh. Maybe I should watch the rest of it. Actually, the thing is,
I think they're called like the Terran Empire or something like that.
The thing about the original series is, you probably know that the first episode, it's so dark with the people starving, and that's how they originally intended it. But then the studio came and said, turn it into a comedic farce, and that just made it.
And then later we got Buck Rogers, which is really more like what the studio wanted.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Thomas says they do use the space Nazis, literally the space Nazis. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that.
I wasn't kidding. There are space Nazis.
That wasn't the last time they used that. There's also the TNG episode, two-parter Descent, where Lore has that flag with red on the outside, white on the inside, and the symbol is black. That seems familiar. Like common theme. And of course, Babylon 5 has Nazi references all the time.
Let's see. Here is these are the Eastern Alliance from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, that's subtle.
Yeah.
But there's also the Alliance from Firefly. They also have those hats.
Yeah.
But their uniforms are a little bit more modern.
Yeah. So they are obviously they're the space Nazis.
Yeah, very subtle. I mean, there's also like Star Trek, the Force Awakens, I think that thing was called, the first one of that new one.
The First Order.
Yeah, that's also extremely on the nose with the speech that General Hux, who was like a comedy character in The Last Jedi, but in the first movie he was like the uber-Nazi holding speeches. I don't really know. I only just watched these movies when they came out and never watched them again because they were like, that's kind of how I ended up on YouTube, because I thought I can't be the only one who thinks this was just horrible.
Well, apparently, nope, you're the only one.
Yeah, I'm figuring that out, that I'm lost in a world where everybody gets the genius of these movies, and I'm the only one who just can't grasp it. I don't know what's wrong with me. But that's genius. I recognize that. The Force Awakens, not so much, but that's genius. They actually had a Star Trek episode too. I have a video of that. And so did the Alvin and the Chipmunks. They have a Star Trek. I once downloaded a file with all the Star Trek tributes from various TV shows.
Okay, like whenever they do an episode where they be on the bridge or whatever.
It had like a fan-made compilation of all the TV shows in the world that did Star Trek tributes. They had like Muppet Babies and Alvin and the Chipmunks, and they had like Bugs Bunny, I think. They had Duck Dodgers, and
oh, it was muted that time. I'm sorry, you guys didn't get the music. Let me fix that for you.
Is everything all right in here?
Yes, Nanny.
There you go.
Well, it had the Yellow Brick Road and the Darth Vader tie.
Yeah, you get the TIE Fighter and the Yellow Brick Road, because that's just how they roll on Muppet Babies.
Yeah. Gotta have everything.
Well, this has been the most non-confrontational nerd fights ever. Hopefully,
because we never talked about Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, hopefully Danny will be doing better tomorrow, and we'll be able to actually fight a little bit. But you know, we're going to talk about water if he's okay. And I was going to show you. So I mentioned earlier on that I thought that that logo for Strange New Worlds was made by a guy named Andrew Kramer. I don't know if you heard me say that. But because he does After Effects compositions and stuff, and he does tutorials on how to do After Effects. And so I'm working on redoing the logo using one of his products that I bought back in 2012 to make the Galactica logo for the next Nerd Fight show. So this is how it's looking so far. And you can see I think it looks pretty darn good. But the cool thing about this particular, this plugin that he makes. Let me move this over here. Well, actually, it'll mess up if I put it over there. I just won't be able to see the chat for a minute. If I go to, I know it says Battlestar G because I didn't finish typing it. So if I put the cursor there, I can just type it out. But I could then, go back and.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean the way this guy and you can see in real time it does that really well. And so then I can, let me bring up this, and we can bring the text in close, and you see how it reacts with that blue light that I put there. If I bring it in nice and close to the light, and then we can, let's see, where's my rotation that I put on it? Right here. We'll do that, or maybe bring it around this way if we want to have kind of a reverse look on it. So it's really a powerful plugin.
You know what I gotta say to in the chat to June, I don't know how to pronounce it properly, June Wong.
June, thank you. By the way, June, thank you for the very generous gift that I received from you today. But yes, June is one of my favorite Australians. Would love to a Star Wars parody sitcom where Luke brings home an X-Wing and parks it next to Darth's TIE. Comedy ensues when Vader complains about kids today and their X-Wings.
You know what I always wanted to see as a science fiction sitcom is that Tuvok from Voyager and Teal'c from Stargate get transported to today's Earth and have to be roommates and just talk to each other in the way that they do. Fascinating. Indeed.
The entire show is just the two of them staring at each other.
Yeah, and fighting like for the toothpaste. You have
one of the things I want to do, and I'm looking for the problem is that I don't have time to make the 3D models myself to the detail I'd want to do it, is I want to make some 3D animations of like different ships from different franchises to kind of talk about what ship would win in a fight against what, but to actually show why, like to show the different weapons, shields, that kind of thing in action. And why I think that, for example, like obviously Battlestar Galactica against Star Trek loses hardcore, right? Because Battlestar Galactica uses simple nuclear weapons and projectiles. And one thing that we've seen is that A, projectiles couldn't penetrate shields, and B, the Enterprise, or the original series Enterprise, took a nuke from 100 yards away and shrugged it off.
That's something you're wasting your time even explaining, because it's just so given.
Well, I know it seems obvious, but the thing is that would Galactica fare so badly against, say, a Star Destroyer?
Yeah, Star Wars has a unique way of physics that is difficult to calculate.
Well,
because they have first they sometimes they say they have no shields, but they have shields, but they have weapons, but we don't know what they are.
From what we've seen of Star Wars weaponry, standard, and keep in mind, because we think that, Star Wars, well, hey, they have advanced weapons. In Star Wars, like even in The Mandalorian, they're using conventional missiles.
Yeah, they do that, but
And so regular old missiles and projectiles work in Star Wars. And the armor of a Battlestar is not to be laughed at. So and that's what would really, because now you would have Vipers versus TIE fighters. And by the way, neither Vipers nor TIE fighters have shields. And so that it boils down to, you'd have to do an analysis of dogfighting techniques, maneuverability, that kind of thing, which you could do. You could break that down if you look at the two franchises and how the ships fly. Who wins in a straight up fight, Vipers versus TIE fighters. I have my opinion on it. And then you can also look at, okay, how many TIEs are on a Star Destroyer versus how many Vipers on a Battlestar. Battlestars and Star Destroyers roughly the same size. And so then we come up to, well, if it comes down to a slugfest of the capital ships, can a Star Destroyer take down a Battlestar before a Battlestar takes down a Star Destroyer? And I think that that's a closer fight than people give it credit for.
let's do like a detour, because I'm the only one on your channel. So let's do like Battlestar Galactica against Babylon 5 and Vipers against Star Furies.
See, Vipers versus Star Furies would be very tough.
They function very similarly.
Yeah, the only major difference is that Star Furies use energy weapons and Vipers use projectiles. Other than that, they work very much the same. And they both are very, very maneuverable. They both... now, it would seem like... And you correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't watched Babylon 5 in a while, but it seems like the Vipers would have a higher top speed, but that the Star Furies seem like they accelerate faster.
I wouldn't know if they accelerate faster. They are definitely more maneuverable due to their things going in 8 different directions.
Right.
So they are definitely more maneuverable.
Right, but the Vipers seem like they're faster.
Vipers, they fly like fighter jets in an atmosphere. They
No. You haven't seen the new series then very much, because no, they do not.
Yes, I've seen the whole series. I mean, compared to Star Furies, they fly more like fighter jets.
Well, if they're in an atmosphere, they certainly do. But when they're in space, they fly sideways, they fly backwards, they fly, they turn end over end. And in fact, the interesting thing is they even say, and one thing would be interesting would be to do and it wouldn't be that hard to do, is that if we looked at footage from Babylon 5 at a Star Fury and timed how long it takes a Star Fury to turn around. Because what we do have is actual canonical data on the Viper. It can turn end per end in 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, we have that same canonical data on Babylon 5.
What do they say?
Nobody's said it anywhere, but you can watch it in the episode. Yeah, we have the visuals, so somebody can measure it.
But if it's in the episode, that's fine. I would want to know where it is. If we have it, great. Because that's something we could compare.
Probably in the episode where they break away from Earth, Severed Dreams in season 3.
And someone was talking about the Expanse. The problem with the Expanse, their tech is so far behind. Like the rail guns are interesting. They could do some damage. But the problem with the when I say their tech is behind, their big problem isn't weapons. Don't get me wrong. I think that the Expanse weaponry is deadly against Star Wars, Babylon 5, or Battlestar Galactica. Wouldn't work against Star Trek and their shields, but it would be deadly against the other 3. But their problem is propulsion. Their propulsion is so ridiculously sluggish and slow compared to everything that the other guys have, it wouldn't even be a fair fight. And yeah, they have no FTL at all, and their sublight speed is ridiculous. I mean, think about this. It takes them, days and even weeks to get from planet to planet within our own solar system. Right? It takes we don't know the exact speed, because I know in Star Trek it takes like 8 hours to get from Earth to Jupiter on impulse. And I would assume a Star Destroyer could do it. It would take longer, but it would at least no more than a couple of days. So it would be, and they don't really dogfight in like when we see the closest thing we see to a dogfight in the Expanse. If you had a TIE fighter or an X-Wing or a Star Fury or a Viper out there, they would tear the Rocinante to pieces. As long as they stayed out of the firing arcs of the Rocinante's guns, there wouldn't have much of a chance.
I find it weird to bring the Expanse into these comparisons. Considering
I just think it's way too primitive compared to the others.
Yeah, the Expanse is just trying to take our own existing technology.
Oh, you there, John? Oh, great! Looks like there you are.
Would be like comparing weapons for all mankind with
right
Star Trek and Star Wars. It's just a different ballpark.
And that's obviously not to suggest that there's anything wrong with The Expanse as a show. I love The Expanse as a show.
Me too.
And same thing, like when I talk about Star Trek being so superior because of the shields in Star Trek, that's not suggesting that Star Trek is necessarily the best sci-fi ever. It's just saying that based on the technology that we see, the shields and propulsion in Star Trek put the Federation way ahead of everybody else on tech.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm a huge Star Trek fan my whole life since I was a little kid, but the ships from like Guardians of the Galaxy and Thanos from the MCU, they would probably blow them to pieces. That doesn't mean that Star Trek is inferior.
Right.
Same logic.
So anyway, so we're going to wrap it up there with our not fighting nerd fights.
I just wanted to say that if we managed to stay on subject for 10 seconds, we probably would have gotten into fighting, but
that's all right. It was fun. SG-1, just drop a nuke from orbit. The only way to be sure. That'll take care of SG-1. So remember, you're the salt to the earth. I'm the salty trekker. John Gill is German, so watch out. And keep your borders closed. Can't trust him. And so to Pring here is like going, hey, is it time to go yet? I want food. Right? That's all you want. You just want food. All right. So take care, guys. And hopefully we'll have some good news from Danny tomorrow. And if not, well, hopefully we'll at least have some news from Danny tomorrow. And
all the best to Danny.
Thank you. And anybody that's believer in the power of prayer, pray for Danny. He's going through a rough time right now. So he needs all the help he can get right now. All right. So take care, guys, and have a good one.